Welcome to the Roth Show. Let's see if we can make a helicopter sound. Does this sound like a helicopter? A far away helicopter.
Oh, it is far away, yes.
Well, it's coming for us. Because we're going to EDC. Some of you may not recognize me. It's just getting closer. EDC with David Lee. David Lee Roth here, The Roth Show, and Roth Rocks Vegas. Can you say that 3 times in a row? Now, do it with a drink in your hand in a helicopter. Helicopter, Rotary does it best. Maverick, high point of the evening. That's your new bumper sticker. Tom, how many times have you ridden in a helicopter?
Well, we took a helicopter to and from the EDC, so I've been in a helicopter twice.
And what was your take on the whole experience there?
It was amazing. I mean,
why was it amazing? Give me the first reason.
It was the first thing was the view over Vegas. The guy took us straight over downtown Las Vegas.
Let's go with that right away. When you see something like that from like 2,000 feet above, I don't know, I think he was probably flying at about 1,500 feet. The Empire State Building is 1,100 feet, give or take. That gives you a little bit of perspective. And when you see something from that high, did it look really tiny, like a miniature film set to you, or did it look awe-inspiring and terrifying?
It was awe-inspiring and terrifying.
Okay, because that's half the thrill. And those kinds of aircraft, I know exactly that kind of aircraft. That's the kind of aircraft that I trained in when I was flying. I had a helicopter license. I know the terrified look. I could see it through the goggles. The first time that I ever went up in a helicopter, it was in EC. It was one of those kinds of helicopters you can tell because it has the enclosed tail rotor. That makes it quieter. That gives it a little more stability. And that is probably the most popular kind of helicopter in the United States. Anytime you see aviation, police mobile, anything with fire like that, that's usually the kinds of helicopters that they've got. And that's a multi-million-dollar aircraft. And it's built just like the wind. Have you noticed when one of those aircraft, look up on Maverick, they have no straight lines. There's no sharp edges, just like nature, just like floating through the water. It's like on a surfboard. If you think about it, there's almost no straight lines on a surfboard. There were also no straight lines on any of the girls who were waiting to get in one of those 47 Maverick helicopters that night. Did you notice that, Tom?
I did notice that.
Okay, because we were standing there waiting to get into a helicopter. We're going to EDC and keep in mind, EDC is 500,000 people strong. That's bigger than Woodstock. 500,000 at Woodstock included everybody who was ancillary and support. This is just close friends and people who actually got dressed up for the event. All right? I have a good story about getting dressed up for the event. But right away, I was standing at the door waiting for the whirly-bird to go, and there's a huge line of people, and I thought, they look like Cirque du Soleil. They really put some time into just their haircuts and their moves and everything, and a pretty gal, knockout eye roasting, goes walking by, and I danced up because when we show up to interview somebody, Tom, what we have, about 12, 14 people with us in our entourage, okay? When we show up to take a look at the event, we're the event. When we show up to interview people and throw the attention, inevitably, we become the attention. So we share the spotlight. Think of it like that, okay? And first thing I thought of is, she's so hot, I want to share a lot more than my spotlight with her. First thing I thought to say was, I just got your haircut. And she goes, oh my God. And everybody's in a really colorful, lively mood, okay? And I said, are you performers? Because they go out of their way at the Daisy Carnival to just way out of their way on Cirque du Soleil, Blue Man Group, Barnum and Bailey without the animal acts kind of a level that is beyond any perception that you've seen. And I've seen a few shows, okay? Having seen those shows, what a colorful balance of everything that's great you can imagine. We've talked about how caramel is great. She's better with a little sea salt. Peanut butter, we grew up on that. And then somebody gift wrapped it in chocolate for Hanukkah, and we all know what happened then. Somebody's out there driving an 800-foot yacht called Buttercup. And I asked her, it's kind of like asking somebody, are you pregnant? And they're not. Open mouth, insert shoe from Boston, size of Boston. Wasn't the third time in my life. She says, oh no, We're just a group of folks. We're a family here, and we're all just getting all ready to go over to the event. And the event doesn't really start until midnight. You got to know that before you go. So when they talk about all the way until 6 in the morning or whatever it is, and then there's after hours. And I don't know why they even bother calling it after hours, because the amount of alcohol at the event, I hardly saw any. Right? Did you see any kind of vending of that?
I mean, just when we were at the table setting area, that was the only alcohol that I saw.
Yeah, there was very different than going to racetrack or whatever. It was a much more grooving, much more fluid audience. People were really dancing. I've been to a lot of different kind of shows. I've been to cowboy shows. I've been to heavy metal shows. I've been to hip hop shows, raves, you name it. Soul reviews, every possible kind of show you can possibly imagine. And this was kind of the most placid, safe, easygoing, unbelievable fucking high energy that you could possibly imagine. Usually when you get that kind of high energy in the music, it's equated with some kind of disruption in the audience because you're driving the evil spirits out, and some people just have too many to drive out, and all you did was stir them up. And that was not the case here. I've not seen so many people so amped up with music, so blistering, mind-roastingly rich and loud. When we talk about loud, we're not talking about this. This is the international signal for women leaving the building, okay? I didn't see that once. You're talking about digital, profound sound. Rich, like Dutch chocolate. Rich, like the sound of Eddie Van Halen's guitar when it's at its most dense. Okay? It's not this. This is the sounds of sirens and high-end screaming and fingernails on some kind of high-end treble plastic. No, this was a whole different surround sound. Let's talk about expansion and compression. A little bit of fun physics here, hippie physics, okay? Everything in the world is involved in expansion and compression. I learned it, for example, from the Go board. I learned it from professionals involved in chess and so forth. But in our show business, expansion and compression is exactly what you're experiencing out in the audience. In rock and roll, it's all expansion. We start at the stage and expand towards all of you in the audience, all right? In dance world, it's compression. You're surrounded by everything in the sound and everything in the lights because we don't know where we're going to be from hour to hour. We might be here, we might be there, and we expect profound sound and profound visual in and all of it, okay? Especially after you've been drinking and you're a little less accepting of, hey, we're a little less patient. Why doesn't it sound just as good here? What I saw at EDC was a combination of the two. You had a great explosion coming off of that stage, but the entire audience, and there had to be 80,000 people in front of that one stage. That's 20 football fields that was surrounded with amazing compression lighting. And it was like you would find on the most amazing dance floors. And if you want to equate that shit to rock and roll, just take the DJ, give him the day off, and have Al Van Halen do his drum solo. That's how you would explain that with rock and roll. It would be mind-blowing, and you'd ask him to play another 20 minutes, which most drummers have never heard. You would take Eddie Van Halen's famous guitar solo, inarguably one of the more famous single instrumental guitar moments. We had laser beams before, we've used snow fields, we've used all kinds of things. If you took what you saw in that audience going around in that, all of that compression, that lighting and that sound, and the sound is the exact same at 12 o'clock as it is at 6 o'clock if you're looking straight down from that helicopter. You've never seen that at a rock and roll show or a country show or a hip hop show. And once we begin to apply that, once you begin to see those two worlds measure up, you're going to see the bar be pushed up. It's going to go right out of that fucking street. People spend just about as much time getting ready for the show, clearly, as they do being at the show as decompressing after. Everybody spent as much time on haircuts, and probably the most unifying haircut now that you would see in 500,000 people is not the short crew cut. Inadvertently, I have the same haircut as every DJ who was there now, but dreadlocks. Dreadlocks are the most single unifying haircut that you'll see in any race, ethnicity, any group. You're going to find a Thai kid with dreadlocks. You'll find a Korean kid with dreadlocks. You'll find a British Oxford professor with dreadlocks. At one point, I even tried it while I was at the Club Med. You should have seen that one. We were in the elevator with half the entourage. We were already shooting, and we come down in the Palms Hotel. By the way, Palms Hotel took great care of us. Amazing care of us, took care of us, gave us those roaring chariots, you know, that hold 9 people with purple ceilings and booch, booch, booch. Hell, they even had booch, booch in the headsets in the helicopter approaching the event. Was that not totally cool?
Pretty cool.
Okay, we'll be landing. You want me to do it with the accent? Mm-hmm. All right, we'll be landing in a second. Booch, 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 booch. Tighten up your belts. Booch, booch. Tighten up your belts. That kind of a thing. Elevator opens up, and there's this gorgeous gal. She's got long dreadlocks. She's black. And she looks and she sees that we're crammed in here. Plus, I got winter goggles, and, you know, we're filming and so forth. And she balks for a second. My last 2 relationships did the same thing in the beginning. I am not deterred. And I says, oh, that's okay. We accept all haircuts in this elevator. And she got into the elevator under protest. And the doors closed, and I said, the rooms are small, but the company's improving. I said, how do you do? My name's Dave. And she said, wonderful. And I said, I gotta believe that you are headed to the EDC. And she said, yes, I am. And I went, well, then I'd like to be the first one to tell you officially. And she looked at me and went, we don't do that sound anymore. And I looked at her and I said, I actually knew Prince. I kind of see it as a step towards world peace.